Hey guys, it's Gary. Welcome back if you're coming back. Welcome if it's your first time. I've been doing now, this is like 3 days in a row. I'm kind of impressed by this because quite frankly, I've never really had amazing upload frequency in the past before, so this is a nice change for me. Anyway, I've been talking about my journey hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and on yesterday's video, I kind of went into like a brief overview of some of the stuff that I've done over the last 16 years as a creator, kind of where I've been. Now I want to talk about where I'm going, or at least where I think I'm going to go. And, you know, just some goals, some stuff that I've had to like think about for the last probably 2 years roughly. And just trying to like nail down where I want to go. You know, one of the things we hear about a lot on YouTube is niching down, trying to find a specific audience. That's something that I was, successful with when it came to like the e-bike stuff. I had a specific idea, I executed it, and that community found my videos and they showed up with love, and I greatly appreciate that. So now kind of like in life, I want to figure out how to niche down and figure out what it is I really want to do. My day job, I work on a printer. You know, it's cool. The company's cool. The people are cool. But I don't think that that's like my forever job, honestly. As a creative, talking in front of a camera or even being behind the camera is kind of really what I enjoy the most. And I think that after, thinking about it for so long, I've really like narrowed it down to kind of like 2 areas that I really, really enjoy. And I'd like to share that with you guys here on today's video. So I think number 1 that I really enjoy is concert photography. So I can remember back as far as I can go, as far as there was ever like, cell phones. I remember, taking tons of photos at a concert. And, the thing about it is, it's like if you have a camera like this is a professional Sony camera. And if it's got a detachable lens, straight up, it's not going into most concerts. They have policies in place. I think it's mainly due to like back in the day, people were bringing in their pro cameras. They were getting in the way of, other people that paid to get into the show, kind of, impeding on their like fun of the show. But also, I think a lot of photographers were taking pictures like at concerts and other sporting events, printing out photos and selling them. And I think I probably should have done my research, but I don't know that there's like one definitive answer of why that cameras are not allowed at concerts. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. They're not allowed at pretty much most concerts. There's some small clubs where you can bring them in. But so one of my ways around that originally was cell phone photography, which is, especially back then, not great. Cell phones now, like this is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it's amazing, honestly, what it can do. I haven't even really completely unlocked the potential on that, but we will dive into that in a future video. I don't want to bore you right now with that, but we will dive into that. Another thing, another type of camera that you can bring into a show is a point and shoot camera. So a lot of times what I would do is I would try to get as close as possible to the front row and take photos from there with my point and shoot, which was totally allowed to come in. In fact, I even got some amazing shots like of Maren Morris, Scotty McCreery. That's another one that was on the point and shoot. Chris Lane. These are just a couple of examples. But then there was a time about 2 years ago, I remember I was at a club waiting to see a band called Armor for Sleep, and I had a meet and greet pass, and I literally remember buying that for 2 reasons. Number 1, just to share, meet them, share with them kind of like what their band meant to me, and 2, the pitch of, hey, I'm a photographer. I don't necessarily work for anybody, which is really the only way you're going to get a camera in is if you work for like an official media company. I said, look, I don't work for anybody, but I would love to, if possible, get permission to take photos of your set. And surprisingly to me, they said yes. And so I went across the street, got my camera. I take it everywhere with me, and got approved to take photos for them, and it turned out very, very well. They were happy with it, so much so that I actually got invited back to shoot for them again, which was really nice. It just goes to show, bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. You're not going to get a yes every single time. In fact, a lot of times you'll probably just get nothing. It'll be crickets. That kind of seems to be the theme. I mean, I have probably hundreds of DMs to bands that on Instagram that just went completely unread. I don't even bother with the publicists a lot of time because they just they don't want anything to do with you. You know, even if you send them a nice portfolio, it's like, hey, this is what I can do, and it's like legitimately good. Most of the time, they either don't see it because they just have, you know, hundreds of messages, or they do see it and they're like, nah, not for us. So I don't think I've ever actually been told like flat out, no, this is not possible, which is it's probably going to suck when that day comes. But it's nice to get a yes. So long-winded to say, I really enjoy concert photography. It's something that I'd like to continue to explore more. Another yes I got recently was from a band called Further Seems Forever, and they were celebrating 20 years of their How to Start a Fire record. And I remember just posting an Instagram comment on one of their posts. Hello, I'd like to come to this specific city. Is there any chance in the world that I could get, you know, approved to take photos? They said yes, and I got to take a bunch of great photos. The other cool thing where this also plays in, it's like if you take photos of one band, that means you could take photos of all the bands. So, you know, if there's 4 bands playing, but you only intended to shoot one, you now have 3 other bands that, number one, I like to dial in the lighting nice and early into the night and kind of figure out, you know, what is the lighting like in this building, what ISO do I need to be at, all that kind of stuff. So I get all that figured out, usually within the first band, and it works out nice. But so back to what I was going to say is like you can take photos of the band you want to take photos of, but you take photos of the other bands, and potentially there could be opportunity there as well. So it's really nice to have multiple opportunities to impress multiple people potentially, and if they like your stuff, they may have you back, just like what happened with me and Armor for Sleep, which I'm eternally grateful for. So I don't know. Maybe I would like to look into the concert photography more, like just try to figure out like if there's a company that I can get in touch with that like I can show them my stuff, I can wow them, and then they can just say, hey, you're our guy for these concerts, and then I can start going and shooting more big-time concerts, because that's a lot of fun. And it's also fun, too, to shoot, like, small local shows, because you'll get to meet some young, up-and-coming bands, and there's always, almost always, never any camera restrictions at those shows. So that is one thing that I've narrowed down that I would really like to do. The second thing is centered around kind of like YouTube and more behind the scenes, really. That's kind of like where my mind is at right now. And what I mean by that is, number one, consultation. Over the years, people have picked my brain, and, you know, I like to think that I have a good eye for what works and what doesn't. It's like, yeah, you could look at my channel and you could say, well, you only have 1,000 subs, or like, you know, this video only has like 500 views. Who are you to say like what's going to work and what's not? Well, I got news for you. Not everybody wants to look at my dumb face, okay? So the content not necessarily succeeding is, you know, potentially in part due to me and people not wanting to see me and whatnot, because I have, you know, done other content for other folks and it's been widely successful. My favorite radio show, Bubba the Love Sponge, about a year and a half ago, I reached out to my pal Lummy over there. We became friends, and, you know, he gave me an opportunity. The show gave me an opportunity to offer up my services in terms of editing some stuff, you know, audio. You know, I have all those years of podcasting and live internet radio experience. Also, what comes with that is audio editing experience. So I had that in my belt. Video editing. I mean, I do YouTube myself. I have learned a lot about YouTube over the last just couple of years even. I mean, hell, 2 years ago, I was on a live stream watching Mr. Beast and Daryl Eves talk about YouTube. This is around the time Daryl Eves released his YouTube book, which was, about 2 years ago. And they were asking people to put their links in the chat and they would review channels live, which is something I want to get into actually. That could be a live stream opportunity maybe. But so they picked my link, and it was for my cousin and I's food channel, Gary and Larry's Edible Adventures, and Mr. Beast basically roasted it. He was like, you know, essentially, I don't think he said it in exactly these words, like, why would I want to click on this? What's the point? This is not interesting. It's not engaging enough for me to click. And some of the things that he was saying, you know, when you watch it, it's like, okay, well, Mr. Beast is like a completely different animal. There's no one like him. There's a lot of copycats, but there's no one like him. And, you know, when he says his ideas, like somebody could just say, well, yeah, well, it's easy for him to say he has like 200 million subs, and, you know, it's easy for him to say, you know, how to do this and that. It's like, how do I apply that to me, like my small videos? It's basically what it is you find what he's saying, and you find parts of what he's saying, and you can apply it to what you're doing. So there's a lot of things in that live stream. Maybe we should do a video where I watch back that. I have that video saved, and I've never published it, and I might do a video reacting to it. Comment down below if you want to see that. So, you know, I took a lot of what he said. I mean, I had a lot of just anxiety after watching it because, you know, you don't want a lot of people telling you, you rule, you're the best, you rock, why aren't you famous already? Like, you don't want to hear that shit necessarily, because you want to know, what am I doing wrong? What's not connecting? And it's nice to have that tough love, especially from a guy like Mr. Beast, who has no connection to me whatsoever. He doesn't know who I am. The only reason he knows my name is because he saw my video and he was commenting on that. So, you know, he has no reason to like kiss my ass and say, oh, you're the best or whatever. He's like, no, this sucks. I don't think he said flat out, this sucks, but he's like, you know, this sucks, change this, work on that, blah, 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 and we're good. So back over to the YouTube thing, I really would love to dive into YouTube consultation, you know, strategy, planning out, you know, long form videos, short form videos. You know, I've been doing this with Bubba now, not the consultation necessarily. I mean, I've offered my thoughts and whatnot, and they have a great staff over there, Rhett, Lummy, the boys. They're doing some great work over there. And I really appreciate the fact that they allow, you know, me to throw in my 2 cents, and sometimes they'll run with the idea. I think that's really cool. It's really nice to have some people that say, you know what, yeah, that sounds really cool. We'll give that a shot. And I have created myself, I've created multiple vertical short form videos for them, and just on YouTube alone, it's generated nearly 30 million hits, which is incredible, which goes back to say, like, you know, and I think this is a reason why a lot of people don't get into the business. Maybe they have ideas of stuff that could work for other businesses, which is kind of like really where I come in. But people will say, well, who are you? You don't have any views on your stuff. Again, they may necessarily not want to watch me, but it's like I can go create a short form of some archival content for Bubba. He's on the phone with Hulk Hogan, or Hulk Hogan's in the studio telling an old wrestling story, and I can make that. I know certain things within the short of how to like design it, what to show in like the first 5 to 7 seconds before somebody swipes away. That will generally, on average, get it almost, I would say, almost like a minimum for most of them of at least 50K or more. There are some that are less, that are slow growers, some that, you know, just never took off. But for the most part, I mean, I have probably, God, at least 10 or more that hit over 1 million, some that are over 5 million. So definitely there is some opportunity there to create some real magic. And I hope that, you know, kind of looking forward to like the rest of this year, 2024, is trying to really hone down, like, and I don't know that it has to be one or the other. Like, I'm not saying like it has to be either the concert photography or the YouTube, but it's kind of got to be something, right? Like, we got to figure out, you know, kind of the path. I think really, you know, being on YouTube for so long, I've been more excited to be behind the camera. So, you know, I kind of like that more than being in front of the camera. But you know what? I think there's room for both. So for right now, I'm kind of just dabbling a little bit of everything. So I think actually within this video, I've already got an idea. I think maybe some channel reviews would be cool. Maybe if some people saw those and they took some of the ideas and they try to use them and they got successful, that could be a nice proof of concept. That's another thing real quick before we wrap up about like doing the Bubba stuff. It's like, it's my favorite show. I'm happy to help those guys, and I appreciate them giving me a spot to help them, to where I can give them a video and they say, yeah, this is good enough to be on our page. Like that is, I greatly appreciate that. But it's also, you know, the benefit I get is that I can now go to a company and say, hey, I've generated 30 million hits for this page right here. Imagine what I could do for you. Whether that's editing the videos flat out, or if they have an editor, maybe offering some suggestions. You know, remember, I got the ADHD, so I get bored really easy. And I think that that is actually a powerful tool to have when you're, especially when you're editing short form content, because people have short attention spans. So kind of knowing like, okay, this is annoying, get to the point. It kind of helps you when you're editing those kind of videos, because you can make it in such a way for that target audience that is, you know, they're ready to click off at about somewhere between 5 and 7 seconds. They're already clicked off and on to the next, unless you have them hooked. So yeah, I think, I'm thinking to myself, I would love to work with people, you know, and see if I could help some great people take their videos and their channels to the next level. So I think I've rambled on enough here. This is probably the longest video so far. And I just will say very, very quickly, if you're at this point, obviously that means you are somebody who is, you know, down with what we're doing here. And I greatly appreciate you if you're here this far in the video. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that like button. If you got value, you're still here. So you probably got some level of value. And once you hit subscribe, hit that bell, hit all, not personalized, not none, hit all, so that you get notified every time I publish new videos. You guys are my ground floor, man. If you're here this far into the video, you're at the ground floor with me. We're going to take this thing to heights it's never seen before, and it starts now. So thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's see how long we can keep this streak going. Have a great day.